Well, I'm heading west for the next 2 weeks. Yes, first, SBJ is hosting an event in Seattle. I'm making a number of organizational visits in the city. I'll spend a couple of days with my brother and sister-in-law on the Oregon coast, and then go to Dana Point, where we have SBJ's Thought Leaders Retreat and our Thought Leaders Retreat Tech. Some amazing speakers in a fun, relaxed, private environment. I'll miss you on the Buzzcast, but my colleagues will make sure you do not miss a beat. And this is your morning Buzzcast for Friday, July 18th. I'm Abe Madcore. Just before the start of NFL training camps, the NFL Players Association needs a new leader, as the PA's executive director, Lloyd Howell, resigned late Thursday night, and there was no immediate word of an interim replacement. Howell issued a statement that his leadership had become a distraction to the Players Association. And this news comes after a number of disclosures this summer that raised questions about the union's handling of several key issues during Howell's 2 years in charge. We've talked about him on the Buzzcast, including his decision to not share with members a major arbitration ruling earlier this year. Meanwhile, on Thursday, ESPN reported that 2 player reps who voted for Lloyd Howell were not aware that he was sued in 2011 for sexual discrimination and retaliation while he was at Booz Allen. But even with all those issues, Howell's resignation came as a surprise Thursday night, as there was committee support for his leadership as late as just 2 days ago. So this came quickly. Howell steps down. The PA's executive committee said they will meet as soon as possible on next steps. Now remember, Lloyd Howell was elected in 2023 to replace outgoing executive director Dee Smith. Howell promised to bring his long career in corporate America to the union. He was pledging a more business-focused approach. He was also pledging more revenue and different ways of operating the union. But Lloyd Howell moves on after just 2 years, and the Players Association finds itself looking for a new leader. Let's move on. Let's just take a step back and look at the coverage of this week's WNBA's All-Star Weekend. It's amazing. I can say the fact that Good Morning America is in downtown Indianapolis to celebrate the W's All-Star Weekend with the daily morning show airing on the ground from the site. It speaks volumes to the interest in women's sports and the growth in women's sports. Robin Roberts in Indianapolis, joined by various W players, ESPN personalities, all on one of the most watched shows in the morning on ABC. Great to see. And it demonstrates just how far women's sports has come. It's the first time Good Morning America has broadcast live from a WNBA All-Star Weekend. And this is a big weekend in a very popular sports city right now. On Friday and Saturday, Indy will have so much going on, and city leaders predict 70,000 visitors to the market, and it's clear that this will be one of the biggest All-Star weekends in W history, and there will be no lack of fans roaming the city over the next 2 days. If you've been to that market, you know the JW Marriott Hotel is a central point, and there is an enormous 30-story Nike advertisement on the building featuring Caitlin Clark with the caption, quote, "From downtown in my town," end quote. Now, the fact that she is not playing all weekend is an incredible disappointment to fans, to players, the league, its partners. But let's face it, it takes a bit of the glow off the weekend. But there is still so much interest and energy in the WNBA. Let's see how this All-Star weekend unfolds. Meanwhile, there were CBA talks on Thursday before the All-Star weekend, and reports had that WNBA players came out in heavy numbers. It was said to be their largest attendance ever. For players attending CBA talks, Caitlin Clark was there, Paige Beckers was there, Angel Reese. They were among the 40 players who took part in the first face-to-face meeting featuring players really since December. So the two sides met for a couple of hours, and while very little came from the CBA talks, it does show how invested the players are early on in these negotiations. They clearly want to see more revenue sharing, increased salaries, improved benefits. But the bottom line is we have a long way to go here. The players are certainly engaged early in the collective bargaining process. Let's move on from the W. We talk a lot about the big personalities and personalities who move the needle in sports media. We can name them on one hand: Pat McAfee, Stephen A., Scott Van Pelt. Those are big names, big talents with big followings. You also can add, of course, Barstool Sports and Dave Portnoy to that list. And it's evident by all the attention his deal is getting with Fox Sports, because Fox Sports announced formally that it signed with Barstool Sports and Portnoy to a wide-ranging deal that will see Dave Portnoy and other personalities from Barstool join Fox's big noon kickoff college football show, and there'll also be a new 2-hour studio show that will air on FS1 Monday through Friday. So there will be a number of different ways that Barstool and Portnoy interact on Fox Sports. There'll be a number of digital content executions. But again, this shows that while ESPN put Pat McAfee on College Game Day, Fox Sports counters with Dave Portnoy and Barstool Sports for Big Noon Kickoff. It's all about trying to find these big personalities, these people who have big followings, specifically young people who follow these personalities, and get them on as many shows as possible. And that's what you'll see with Fox Sports and Dave Portnoy and Barstool Sports. Staying with college sports, my phone was buzzing over the past few days with a report that a longtime sports business executive named Brian LaFemina was rumored to be heading to become athletic director at his alma mater of Rutgers. Now, late this week, Brian LaFemina withdrew his name from consideration for the post of athletic director at Rutgers, saying he's going to remain in the private sector. He is currently an operating partner at Arctos, but if he had made the move, it would have followed the mold that we have seen in terms of pro sports executives going from the pro sports space and taking their expertise on campus. Now, it won't happen, apparently, with Brian LaFemina. So Rutgers begins its search again. The search is being handled by Turnkey ZRG, but this is just another indicator of the level of executives that college universities are looking for to lead their athletic departments. We're going to see more and more of this as the days go on. And boy, I'll end with this. The bad blood between Patriots owner Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick becomes more and more evident, doesn't it? It just shows how tense and how challenging things were in Foxborough at the end of the Patriots' dynasty run. Did you notice how Bill Belichick made a rare public pushback to Robert Kraft, who said on a podcast that he took a big risk to hire Bill Belichick in 1999? Now, it should be noted, this story has been told by Robert Kraft time and time again. It's not a new story, but apparently this time, Bill Belichick was fed up, and so he responded, saying, in fact, it was he, Bill Belichick, who took the big risk in agreeing to coach the Patriots at that time. If you look through this, it's just incredible, because Belichick told ESPN that he had been warned by multiple previous Patriot coaches, as well as other members of other NFL organizations and the media, that the New England job was going to come with many internal obstacles, end quote. Now, he didn't disclose what those obstacles were, but he did say the Patriots at that time were one of the worst teams in football, and they were $10 million over the salary cap. The bottom line is, I just find this really remarkable. We're really seeing the personal strain of this relationship between the two. And this all comes 18 months after they parted ways in New England. So I just find it incredible that they just aren't appreciating the success they had together. But there was obviously, when you strip it all back, a lot of tension and sensitivity between Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick, and it certainly showed this week. And so that is your morning Buzzcast for Friday, July 18th. I made Matt Core. Again, I'll be gone away from the Buzzcast for the next couple weeks. I'll be listening just like all of you, and I know my colleagues will continue to keep you updated. So stay healthy, be good to each other. I'll speak to you when I return.